starting another adventure. Nice makes a great home base for some day trips out along the Riviera. Today we're going on a special trip down the coast to Cannes, and then we'll be visiting Antibes on the way back into Nice. Well, Cannes is really one of the most famous of all the towns along the Riviera, famous as the home of the Cannes International Film Festival and some super deluxe luxury hotels. There are the palaces. The Hilton is one of a handful of really spectacular five-star deluxe hotels along the waterfront here, and the Carlton, the grande dame of them all. A magnificent structure, very expensive to stay here. And during the film festival, forget about it. You've got to be a Hollywood producer or actor to get a room in the Carlton. But in the rest of the year, especially in the off-season, you might find an affordable room in this elegant palace. Here's your breakfast room, a nice lounge, wonderful lobby, and it's right on the waterfront with the beach right across the street. And some high-end shops out front, of course. Well, in November, there's not very much beach action. Now, this is one place that it might be more exciting to be in the month of June or July when the beach is filled with lovely bodies. The Majestic is another of the grandest of the hotels. The lobby is open to the public. Come on in, have a look around, sit down, relax, use the facilities, maybe have a snack at the cafe, and back out onto the promenade. Here is an interesting sculpture of a lion and her cubs, and the Film Festival Hall. This is the great scene in late May of the Cannes Film Festival. Out front they have lots of impressions from the big stars. Everybody comes to Cannes for the festival, and it's a big buying market for the television industry as well. It's not just movies. Now we're entering the old town of Cannes. It's just up on this low hill overlooking the boat harbor. Now, you don't want to miss this, so when you're in Cannes, be sure to walk down to the end of town. It just takes 15-20 minutes to walk down here and have a little stroll through Old Cannes. And it's a pedestrian zone. It's on a slight rise. There's staircases, and from here you have a grand view looking back across the boat harbor to the beaches, to the row of elegant hotels lining the waterfront, and the Film Festival Hall down below. A couple of small squares up here in the old town, and naturally restaurants and cafes to go with it. Ice cream shops, creperies, and then back down the hill and into the main shopping part of town. There are a couple of major lanes that form the commercial spine of Cannes. One of them here you see is for pedestrians only, and this runs for about a mile. It'll take you all the way to the train station, which is where we'll be heading in a few moments to continue on our journey. Plenty of souvenir shops and a whole variety of merchandise for sale on the main streets of Cannes. Back onto our train as we continue to the final stop on our trip, the small seaside village of Antibes. There's an old fort up on the hill. It had a wall running around it. It was a medieval fortified village, just like all of these towns in Provence. Antibes was famous as a home for artists in the 20th century, particularly Picasso. This was his main home for about 20 years, and there's a Picasso Museum in the Grimaldi Palace in town. Well, here too we've got a lovely pedestrian zone and yet more alleys for strolling. And some old ivy-covered walls of restaurants and little tiny hotels. Notice these arches linking the buildings together to help them support each other, holding hands. Town square with the main church. And we're heading into the little pedestrian shopping zone, but first we thought we'd take a little detour past the Grimaldi Palace. That's where the Picasso Museum is located, with a view of the azure seas, the Mediterranean. It was a little cloudy today, but the overcast makes for nice lighting on the buildings as we stroll along. Here's the old marketplace, the covered market. And before we go into the commercial shopping district, I'd like to take a look at the residential area. This is a charming neighborhood, very quiet, and it's a pedestrian zone even for the houses. So these people walk to get to their house. This cat's having a bit of a limp here, but he has no trouble scaling right up this rocky staircase. It's a quiet little neighborhood for residences, just a little back zone lined with some lovely plants, and give you a little breather before plunging into the commercial zone. Lots of cafes here and plenty of shops on this very lively shopping mall in Antibes. This is one of the oldest shopping malls you'll see. It's kind of a forerunner of today's modern shopping malls. These streets have always been too narrow for any cars, so it's been a pedestrian zone since the beginning. This entire stroll through the village of Antibes only takes a couple of hours. You arrive by train, and the train station is right in town, and it takes about 20 minutes to walk from the train station into this pedestrian zone of the old town of Antibes, and stroll about for an hour or two, maybe sit at a cafe, grab some lunch, and then you're on your way once again as we arrive at the end of our program.